Universal definitely has an intense commitment to preservation and restoration of its film library. The restoration of Jaws is a tremendous responsibility. In the case of Jaws, this is history.
Jaws, 1975. One of the most thrilling and terrifying films in the history of cinema, directed by the genius Steven Spielberg. Not only shattered all box office records, but also gave birth to the concept of the summer blockbuster. However, behind that resounding success was a perilous production where the cast and crew repeatedly faced real risks, even narrowly escaping death. From real footage featuring massive great white sharks offshore to unexpected incidents involving the main actor, Bruce at Jaws, was not only a story of survival on screen, but also a real-life battle behind the camera. Below are 20 shocking, horrifying and fascinating facts about the film's production that you may not know. 1. Mechanical shark, Bruce.
My studio and I stripped off years and years of grime. It was about getting down to the basic shape of the shark.
The mechanical shark in Jaws was named Bruce, after director Steven Spielberg's lawyer, Bruce Raymer. However, Bruce was not an easy star to work with. Designed with cutting-edge technology of the time, the mechanical shark constantly malfunctioned during ocean filming. Since it had not been tested in salt water before use, Bruce corroded, causing damage to its control systems and frequently sinking to the seabed. These issues cost the production weeks of repair time, delaying filming and significantly inflating the budget. Spielberg could not rely on Bruce to deliver the desired shots, forcing him to come up with creative solutions. Instead of showing the shark directly, he used indirect angles, John Williams's suspenseful music, and the characters' panicked reactions to evoke fear. This approach transformed Jaws from a typical monster movie into a masterful work of artistic horror. 2. Underwater scenes with real sharks. When the mechanical shark, Bruce, repeatedly malfunctioned, Spielberg had to find an alternative solution to complete critical scenes. He enlisted Ron and Valerie Taylor, renowned Australian underwater cinematographers, to film real sharks. They used a miniature shark cage and captured footage of great white sharks off the coast of Australia. To make the sharks appear larger and more terrifying, a stuntman was placed inside the smaller cage, creating the illusion that the sharks were far bigger than they actually were. One standout shot involves a shark attacking the cage with no one inside, a completely real scene. Spielberg even altered the script, allowing the character Hooper to survive using this footage instead of being killed by the shark as originally intended. This creative solution not only saved the film from disaster, but also made Jaws' underwater scenes iconic. 3. The shark only appears for 4 minutes on screen. In the entire 2-hour runtime of Jaws, the shark appears on screen for only about 4 minutes. This was not the original plan, but rather the result of numerous technical issues with the mechanical shark, Bruce. The screenplay initially called for the shark to appear more frequently to showcase its brutality and terrifying power. However, Bruce's constant malfunctions forced Spielberg to completely rethink his approach. Instead of focusing on the shark's physical presence, he concentrated on building psychological fear through music cinematography and the characters' reactions. John Williams played a significant role in transforming the shark's absence into an advantage. His soundtrack, composed of just 2 repeating notes, created an unrelenting sense of tension, signaling the shark's presence without showing it. Spielberg also effectively used underwater shots to simulate the shark's point of view, leaving the audience's imagination to fill in the rest. 4. The orca sank during filming.
down memory lane, the boat was gone. And I called up the head of the back lot, and I said, "What happened to the orca?" He said, "Well, it was just rotting there, so we took an axe and..."
Filming on the ocean added authenticity to Jaws, but it also came with unexpected risks. One of the most memorable incidents occurred when the orca, the boat featured in the film's climactic scenes, suddenly sank. This happened due to a combination of strong waves, overloaded equipment, and the boat's suboptimal design. As the orca began to sink, the crew faced an emergency. Cinematographer Bill Butler shouted to save the actors first, then the expensive cameras. The seawater threatened to destroy all the footage shot so far, but thanks to quick thinking and good teamwork, most of the film was preserved. Fortunately, everyone on set remained safe, but the incident served as a stark reminder of the challenges of filming in harsh natural environments. 5. The budget spiraled out of control. Initially, Universal Pictures projected that Jaws would cost around $4 million, a reasonable budget for a horror film in the 1970s. However, as filming dragged on and numerous issues arose, the budget quickly ballooned to nearly $9 million. Choosing to film on the ocean instead of in a studio tank complicated everything. Large waves disrupted camera positions, salt water, damaged equipment, and constant anchoring of boats wasted valuable time. Additionally, the mechanical shark, Bruce, frequently malfunctioned, forcing the crew to pause filming for repairs. The shooting schedule extended from 55 days to 159 days, significantly increasing labour and equipment costs. Universal even considered halting the project, but Spielberg and the producers convinced them of the film's historic potential. The film became a classic ushering in the era of the summer blockbuster and grossing over $470 million worldwide. 6. The opening scene with Chrissy Watkins. The chilling opening scene of Jaws, where Chrissy Watkins is attacked by the shark, was not only terrifying on screen, but also a grueling challenge in real life. Susan Backlany, who played Chrissy, endured hours of being continuously yanked underwater by cables. To create the effect of her being dragged by the shark, the crew used a special underwater harness system operated by 5 members pulling from opposite directions. Remarkably, Backlany had no idea when she would be pulled, making her panicked reactions on screen incredibly authentic. Each tug left her bruised with the cold water and strong force testing her physical limits. The screams heard in the scene were not acting, they were her real cries of pain and fear. Filming took hours in freezing water, pushing Backlany to her breaking point. However, her sacrifice resulted in an unforgettable opening scene that immediately set the tone for the film's horror and suspense. Spielberg used this scene to emphasize the danger of the unseen predator, making it one of the most memorable openings in cinema history. 7. Spielberg almost abandoned the project due to stress. At just 28 years old, Steven Spielberg faced one of the toughest challenges of his directing career with Jaws. The film was plagued by time and budget pressures, as well as constant technical failures and the inherent difficulties of filming on the ocean. Originally budgeted at $4 million, costs soared to nearly $9 million, and the shooting schedule extended from 55 days to 159 days, leaving Spielberg and the crew exhausted. The mechanical shark, Bruce, constantly broke down. Weather conditions were unpredictable, and filming on the water demanded endless patience. Spielberg later admitted he considered abandoning the project, feeling it might spell the end of his career. However, instead of giving up, Spielberg chose to confront the challenges head-on. He revised the script and maximized his creativity to turn the technical problems into advantages. 8. The iconic line, "You're going to need a bigger boat."
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
One of the most famous lines in cinematic history, "You're going to need a bigger boat," was completely unscripted. Roy Scheider, who played Chief Brody, improvised the line during filming. It appears right after his character sees the massive shark surface beside the boat for the first time, a moment both terrifying and unexpected. Interestingly, the line originated from an off-screen joke. During production, the crew frequently complained about a lack of space equipment or resources, often joking, "We need a bigger boat." Scheider naturally incorporated the phrase into the scene, and Spielberg decided to keep it because it perfectly fit the situation, while adding a touch of humour to break the tension. The line quickly became a symbol of Jaws and has since been quoted in countless films, TV shows and pop culture moments. It stands as proof that some of the best cinematic moments are born out of spontaneity. 9. The monologue about the USS Indianapolis.
Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Chief. He was coming back from the island of Tinian to Leyte and just delivered the bomb, the Hiroshima bomb.
Quint's story about the sinking of the USS Indianapolis is one of the most memorable and profound moments in Jaws. Delivered in the dimly lit cabin of the Orca, the monologue not only reveals Quint's traumatic past, but also heightens the tension leading up to the final confrontation with the shark. What's remarkable is that this story is not entirely fictional. The USS Indianapolis was a real American warship sunk by a Japanese submarine during World War II. Of the 200 sailors on board, about 900 survived the sinking only to be left adrift in shark-infested waters for 4 days due to delayed rescue efforts. Hundreds of those survivors were killed by sharks, and only 316 men were ultimately saved. Robert Shaw, who played Quint, rewrote much of his own dialogue for the scene with help from screenwriters Carl Gottlieb and John Milius. Shaw's performance was so compelling that it captivated audiences, adding emotional depth and historical weight to the film. Quint's tale not only explained his obsession with sharks, but also grounded the movie in a chilling reality. 10. The shark attack on Alex Kintner was cut. The shark attack on Alex Kintner was originally filmed with an extremely graphic level of detail. In the original version, the mechanical shark, Bruce, lunges out of the water, tearing apart Alex's raft and dragging him underwater with blood spurting everywhere in a horrifying display. During test screenings, however, this scene caused such panic among viewers that some fainted or vomited in the theatre. In response to the overwhelming reaction, Spielberg decided to tone down the scene to ensure it wouldn't distract from the film's narrative and emotional weight. Instead of focusing on gory details, the final version shows Alex's raft sinking paired with the horrified reactions of the beachgoers. This decision created a deeper psychological fear, as audiences were left to imagine the gruesome attack without seeing it directly. 11. Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss, real-life tension. The on-screen friction between Quint and Hooper in Jaws mirrored the real-life tension between Robert Shaw and Richard Dreyfuss. Shaw, a seasoned actor, looked down on the younger Dreyfuss for his lack of experience and often mocked him on set. He frequently taunted Dreyfuss, calling him a coward and challenging him to perform dangerous stunts during filming. On one occasion, Shaw even threw a glass of whiskey into the ocean and dared Dreyfuss to dive in and retrieve it. Dreyfuss, unaccustomed to Shaw's tough demeanour, found the experience difficult, but managed to stay professional and complete his role. Spielberg often had to mediate between the two actors to keep the production on track. 12. Alex Kintner and a surprising reunion. Decades after Jaws was released, Jeffrey Voorhees, who played Alex Kintner, and Lee Fierro, who played Alex's mother, had a heartwarming and unexpected reunion. Voorhees, by then the owner of a seafood restaurant in Martha's Vineyard, where most of the film was shot, encountered Fierro when she came to dine at his establishment. On the menu was a dish humorously named the Alex Kintner Shark Sandwich, a nod to Voorhees' character in the movie. When Fierro noticed the name, she proudly mentioned that she had played Alex's mother. Voorhees then introduced himself as Alex Kintner, and the two embraced reminiscing about their time on set. This charming meeting highlighted the enduring legacy of Jaws and the unique connections it created for those involved in the film. 13. Spielberg voiced a character in the film. Steven Spielberg doesn't appear on screen in Jaws, but he left a subtle mark on the film that most viewers wouldn't notice. In a scene where Chief Martin Brody listens to a radio transmission, the voice of the dispatcher on the other end is actually Spielberg's. This decision was made to save time and money, as hiring a voice actor for just a few lines was deemed unnecessary. Spielberg recorded the lines during post-production, and his voice was seamlessly integrated into the film. This wasn't the only time Spielberg inserted himself into his projects. In many of his films, he would make small cameos or leave hidden touches, a playful nod to fans who paid close attention. 14. A bold release strategy. Before Jaws, most films were released using a platform strategy, starting in a few small theatres before gradually expanding to more locations. But Universal Pictures took a bold approach, releasing Jaws simultaneously in over 450 theatres across North America. To ensure the film's success, Universal spent an unprecedented $1.8 million on advertising. Trailers were aired frequently on television, featuring the terrifying image of a shark lunging at a swimmer, accompanied by John Williams's haunting score. The result was an enormous wave of anticipation, with audiences flocking to theatres. The film earned over $7 million in its first 3 days alone. This release strategy redefined the summer movie season, establishing the summer blockbuster as a major Hollywood tradition. It also set the stage for future hits like Star Wars and Jurassic Park. 15. Record-breaking box office success. Jaws wasn't just a successful film, it was the first movie in history to gross over $100 million in the US, a milestone no one had imagined before. Released on June 20, 1975, the film quickly dominated theatres, earning over $7 million in its opening weekend. By the end of its theatrical run, Jaws had grossed $260 million domestically and over $470 million worldwide. An unthinkable achievement at the time. This massive success was due not only to the film's gripping story, but also to Universal Pictures' groundbreaking release strategy and extensive marketing campaign. The combination of suspenseful trailers, memorable music, and the innovative use of wide release cemented Jaws as a cultural phenomenon. 16. Oscar nominations and wins. Despite being a horror film about a shark, Jaws received significant recognition from the Academy Awards. At the 48th Oscars in 1976, the film was nominated in 4 major categories: Best Picture, Best Sound, Best Film Editing, and Best Original Score. It won 3 of these awards. The Best Sound Award recognized the film's innovative use of audio to create tension and immerse audiences. Best Film Editing went to Verna Fields, whose precision in cutting scenes amplified the suspense, particularly in the shark attack sequences. And of course, John Williams won Best Original Score for his iconic haunting music. Although it lost the Best Picture award to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Jaws' success at the Oscars proved that it was more than just a blockbuster. It was a work of cinematic artistry. 17. Inspired by real events. Jaws was based on Peter Benchley's novel, but few people know that the story drew inspiration from real-life events. One key influence was the 1916 shark attacks in New Jersey, where a shark killed 4 people over the course of 12 days. This was one of the first recorded shark attacks in the US, causing widespread panic and changing how people viewed the ocean. Benchley also found inspiration in the story of Frank Mundus, a famous fisherman from Long Island who in 1964 caught a massive great white shark weighing 500 pounds. Mundus served as the real-life model for the character Quint, with his rough, daring personality and extensive experience at sea. These real-world connections gave Jaws a sense of authenticity that made its story even more terrifying. The idea of a top predator lurking in the ocean was no longer just fiction, but a real threat humanity had faced. This blend of reality and imagination helped solidify Jaws as a timeless masterpiece. 18. Fans flocked to Martha's Vineyard. Much of Jaws was filmed on Martha's Vineyard, a small island off the coast of Massachusetts. Spielberg chose this location not only for its natural beauty, but also for its shallow waters, which made filming easier. After the movie became a cultural sensation, Martha's Vineyard turned into a fan pilgrimage site. Visitors flocked to places like Amity Beach, where the shark attacks were filmed, and Edgartown, the town that served as the fictional Amity Island. Fans relished the chance to visit locations they had seen on screen. The island continues to celebrate its connection to Jaws. Annual events commemorate the film, including outdoor screenings where audiences can watch the movie from boats on the ocean, a thrilling and eerie experience. Martha's Vineyard has become more than just a filming location. It's an integral part of the Jaws legacy, keeping the film alive for generations. 19. John Williams' iconic score. The Jaws soundtrack, composed by John Williams, is one of the most recognizable in film history. Built around just two repeating notes, E and F, the music evokes an unsettling sense of dread. The rhythm accelerates, as if mimicking the shark's approach, keeping audiences on the edge of their seats. When Williams first played the theme on the piano for Spielberg, the director laughed, thinking it was a joke. But Williams explained that simplicity was key to capturing the shark's menacing presence. Spielberg quickly realized that the music would become the film's backbone. Williams created 47 variations of the score for different scenes, blending tension and pacing to match the shark's movements. Sometimes the music was relentless and terrifying, while at other moments it was slow and foreboding, as if the predator was stalking its prey. The score was so effective that it became synonymous with danger in popular culture. It has since been used in countless movies, television shows, and parodies. Williams' work not only earned him an Oscar, but also cemented his place as one of the greatest composers in cinematic history. 20. Cultural impact. Jaws was more than just a movie. It became a cultural phenomenon with a profound impact on society. After its release, fear of sharks skyrocketed and beach attendance dropped significantly. At the same time, shark hunting increased as people sought to eliminate what they saw as a deadly threat. The fear ignited by Jaws also sparked public interest in sharks, leading to more research and discussions about their conservation. The film revolutionized Hollywood, creating the blueprint for the summer blockbuster. Its success showed that big-budget, high-concept films combined with aggressive marketing campaigns could dominate the box office. This paved the way for future hits like Star Wars: Jurassic Park and The Avengers. Jaws also inspired countless creature features and shark-based films, from serious thrillers to campy projects like Sharknado. Its influence extended far beyond cinema, shaping how people viewed the ocean and its mysteries. Ultimately, Jaws proved that even a simple story, when told in a groundbreaking way, could change the world. Its cultural legacy continues to endure, making it not just a film, but a piece of history. Jaws is not just a classic shark movie, but also a groundbreaking film that transformed modern cinema. The incredible behind-the-scenes stories highlight the brilliance and determination of Steven Spielberg and his production team. The legacy of Jaws lives on, inspiring and setting the standard for blockbuster films that followed. And those were the surprising, horrifying, and fascinating secrets behind the making of Jaws, the film that changed the history of cinema forever. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss more exciting stories. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.